Hi again folks, how's all doing? So you may have seen my previous video on this old Freightmaster set that was very kindly given by Andy. So I thought it's time to look at the Class 31 locomotive in it. I've got a bit of a slot between repairing other people's locomotives. I'm waiting on some more coming. But I thought, right, let's get this up and running and sorted out. I haven't tested this yet to see if it works at all, but I'm pretty sure I can get it to work. It's got the old spider assembly motor, same as the Class 37, and this doesn't have pickups on the front, but I will be adding them. So let's go and stick this on the layout and see what happens with it. Okay, so we'll turn on the power. Nothing. Not a sausage. Oh. Nope, that's full power, completely dead, and not a thing out of it at all. So let's get to the bench and see what we can do. So I was chuffed a bit being donated this by Andy. Class 31 is a locomotive, it's on my list of diesels that I wanted to get. And this is in exceptional condition for its age. It really, really is. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. The decals are in perfect condition. There's barely a scratch on it. It's a bit dirty, so we'll clean it up. And I'm looking at the condition of the gears here. They're not worn. The wheels are in a bit of a mess, but the gears look okay. So we shall get into it. If I can figure out how. There's a screw in the bottom there. So this is the Triang R357, built in Britain. It's a very, very tarnished looking screw. Now, does this just lift off, or does it have clips? Oh, it's the roof that comes off. Clips. There we go. So it's got clips either end, and a screw in the middle. Okay, there's a nice weight in the front there. Let's lift this clip. Which is a bit rusty, and that should lift off. So we'll have fun cleaning that out. Let's look at the motor. Oh my word. Okay, in this part of the world we call that stour, thick dust. It's a stoury motor. So really we just have to take this apart and give everything a good clean. It's in otherwise very good condition. Take the brush clip out. It's in good condition, but where the brush hits that plastic casing it is melting a bit, so that's something we need to keep an eye on. It's just a problem with these motors. So I'll clip that. And normally the capacitor just falls off, but that's been well soldered on. Right, let's unscrew this. Push that through there, that comes out. Lift that up. There's the wee screw that goes in the top. There's the brushes, which, well, they're not in bad condition actually. So we'll clean them up. And you can see the stoury mess that it's in. Doesn't seem to be too much play in the motor, which is good. I'm pretty sure this will run fine when we get it all sorted. Oh, shut up, dog. This is Poppy, my wee dog. Well, one of my dogs. You're not helping, are you? No, you're not. Go on, away you go. Right. Where was I? Yeah, I was taking this off. And then we'll get into the wheels. And the traction magnets. Oop. Couple of track pins sucked up into the traction magnet there. That won't help things. In its current state, I would say that doesn't need remagnetised, but by the time I'm finished it probably will, because we need to take the magnet out of there to get all this out. Like so. Let's have a look at this armature and the bearings. Yeah, that's all in very good condition actually. so I'm reasonably confident I can get this to run pretty well. Right, let's get the manky brush and just give this a good brush out. Get rid of all the stour. Okay, gonna desolder the capacitor, which I've never had to do with one of these motors before. Normally they just fall off like that. We'll get the clock cleaning fluid and we'll put all these copper bits and all the metal things in there. So I'll leave things to soak in there for a few hours. Right, so it's T-cut time. We'll do the commutator and we'll do these wheels. We'll see what sort of condition it's in once we've got all the crap off it. Okay, the commutator seems to be okay. Give it a squirt with a contact cleaner. Needs to be gears a bit of a scoosh with the contact cleaner as well. It may be a rotary tool case on these actually. Yeah, I think so. I think I'm just asking too much of the T-cut there. So you can see a difference there between the cleaned wheels and the uncleaned ones. The brass brush on the rotary tool does a great job. You know, I would always try to do it with T-cut first, but if that doesn't work, then you need something just a bit more aggressive. Okay, so all the motor parts are nice and clean, so we can start to put this back together. We'll put the armature in place, that way around. Make sure these plastic bearings are going where they should. Okay, I'll stick it in that way around and out. We will remagnetise it. This is just to get this all sorted. We'll put the traction magnets in just to keep the armature in place. We'll put some molly grease in the axles and we'll pop the wheels in. In all likelihood I'll have to take all this out again, but we'll see how loud the motor runs. If it's a noisy bugger, we'll fiddle around with the worms. Okay, fix on the pickups. They never ever stay in place. Okay, get them in place. And get this little screw down in there, fit that washer over the screw, fit the clip for the brushes in there like that, put that little contact on there, and then fix with the top screw. Well, once you've got that screw screwed down, it holds everything in place. Now we'll fit one brush and then we will attempt to fit this on. There we go. Sometimes gravity is your friend. Right. Okay. Put a little isolating sleeve on there. And there we have the assembled motor. So I'm going to put some gear oil on the gears. Okay, we'll stick a battery in this, and will it work? Yes, it does. Sounds a bit rough in one direction. Okay, let's see what happens. Come on. Yeah. So it's relatively quiet going forwards. A bit noisy going backwards. Why is that? I think we need to pull that worm a little bit. This is where the fun begins. You just got to keep taking this apart and putting it back together. Okay, just going to pull that worm just a fraction. Okay, so I've got this back together after pulling the worm a little there. I think that's better. Let's get this screwed up. Try it on the track. So the motor is running fine, but unfortunately the wheels in this, they're the older Triang ones with the much larger flanges. So the flanges are actually hitting the plastic on the track. So I'm going to have to replace the wheels. I didn't really spot this because the Class 77 I worked on recently, probably about the same age I would have thought, had very similar wheels and bogie and everything, and it was fine. So I wasn't really anticipating this problem. And I had trouble getting replacement wheels for the Class 77 because of the worn gears. So I'm going to have to go on the hunt for some replacement wheels for this bogie. So 3 days later, I've got some replacement wheels. I was very lucky. Someone was selling these on eBay, and they are the smaller flange wheels. So these are the exact wheels that I would have wanted for the Class 77, but couldn't get them then. But perfect replacements for these wheels, and they are in excellent condition. So we shall get these big flanged wheels out. Question is, are they going to need cleaned? They're actually not bad, you know, they're pretty good. So I'm going to bung them in just to see that they work. And I'm going to put some gear oil. It's not a question of whether this works or not, it's a question of how loud is it? How smooth is it? Let's see. That sounds quite good. That sounds very good actually. So with the motor bogie working, we can turn our attention to this. Now I have a chassis from a Class 37, an old Class 37, with what is exactly the same front bogie, but it's got the conductive wheels and the pickups in place. So I was in two minds about this. I thought maybe it might be easier just to take the wheels out of here and put the wheels in there and fit pickups into this bogie. But the more I've thought about it, the more I've thought, no, that's probably more work. It's probably easier to take the entire bogie off. But let me just move this out of the way. These bogies, take these weights out. These bogies are riveted on with a brass rivet, which, you know, doesn't make this job easy. So let's just pull these wires out the rod. So we could drill that out, take a reasonable sized drill bit, but to be honest, because that's just brass and what looks like very thin brass, I'm pretty sure we could probably, let's just see if we can bend this. There. We've got it out, but it's a chewed up mess. But that's okay. It'll be fine. Get this to do the same thing. So I'm just going round the lip of the top of the rivet. and just bending it up with the screwdriver, and it hopefully will allow it to come out. There we go. So that's got this one out, and then we'll fit this one in. There we go, it's on. Okay, with the bogie in place, I've removed the middle wheel here so I can get a finger on that rivet to push it up as high as it will go. And then I'm just going to kind of just bend the top, just sort of open the rivet up a bit at the top, and I think that will be enough so that stays on and moves. So it doesn't look too pretty, but that'll do. And then we can shove the wires back through and then put that middle wheel back in like that, and there we go, we've got the front bogie fixed. So all we have to do is solder a couple of wires onto here to connect to the motor, and we'll be pretty much good to go. Let's see if the weight from the Class 37 fits. So there's two weights actually, so they'll go through there. Yes, I think they do, if this screw fits in. Yep, so that's cool. So the weights from 37 fit in there. So we'll strip the ends of these wires so we can splice that on. A little bit of solder on the wire there just to keep it together. I'm aware you guys can't really see what I'm doing here, but just soldering on this green wire to the pickup. And the same for the black wire. And then when we're at it, we'll solder on the suppressor or capacitor, whatever it is. So that's the front pickup wires all connected up to the motor, and the capacitor back on, so we can put that back on there, and then we can get that clip back on. So there we are. Hopefully this old Class 31 that Andy gave me will run again. So what I've done is I've replaced the front bogie with the bogie from a Class 37. So it's supplying power to the power bogie as well as the power coming from the power bogie wheels itself. The power bogie wheels I've replaced with ones with smaller flanges, so it'll run on the newer track, and I've completely overhauled the motor. So let's see how this runs on the layout. So I wonder how long it is since Andy last saw this locomotive running, but here we go. Let's see what happens when we turn on the power. Well, that's running really well. I'm actually really surprised at how smooth and quiet that is running. That is amazing. I am so pleased with that. Right, let's get the rolling stock out. So this is what Andy wanted to see, his old Freightmaster set running again. All these old wagons. I haven't cleaned these up. I dare say the axles are a wee bit stiff, so I'm not quite sure how well this is going to run, but we'll give it a go. Let's see if we can pull this load out. So there we are, that's this old Triang Class 31 locomotive running very, very nicely. Really surprised at how quiet and smooth that's running. But it just shows you that spider assembly motor, if you just get it right, just get the worm gears in the right position, it does run really well. It's needing a little bit of running in, it's a little bit sluggish, but it's been picking up speed as I've been running it there, so I think a few more times around the track and it'll be absolutely fine. Yeah, really pleased with that, and thank you again to Andy. What a fantastic donation. Thank you so much. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. See you later, folks.